The Facebook could be worth billions of dollars when its stock finally goes public. And you may be thinking, how do I get in? But can you actually own a piece of the pie? I'm Vinny Politan. This is HLN Special Report.
Gosh, okay, I'm glad this isn't live.
It was 2006, about 2 years after launching Facebook from his Harvard dorm. A nervous and camera-shy Mark Zuckerberg.
Sorry, can I start that a different way?
Mark, can you just say your name and pronounce it so nobody messes it up and they have it on tape?
Sure. It's Mark Zuckerberg, founder and CEO.
How did the company start?
Well, it didn't start as a company. I was a sophomore at Harvard, and I've never really been asked how the company was started before. Now I'm all embarrassed.
Speaking-wise, he may have been rough around the edges. But even then, it was clear Zuckerberg had a laser-like focus of what he wanted Facebook to become.
We view the site as sort of an information directory. It helps you better understand what's going on around you, and once you're better informed about the people around you and what's going on, you're in a better position to meet people, connect with all these people.
The Facebook initial public offering is set for Friday.
Two things change. It now has to answer to Wall Street every 3 months.
There's going to be more advertising. There's more oversight. They've got to answer to people. So does it make Facebook less cool?
It's a wait-and-see kind of question.
All right, whether you're a Facebook fan or a financial guru, it's a story that everyone's talking about. The social media site is set to sell 337 million shares of the company on Friday at between $28 to $35 each. That puts the value of Facebook at just under, let me see, $100 billion. Now, there are two main reasons the company is doing this, the initial public offering. First, it has to. Once a company gets 500 shareholders, and Facebook is close to that, it has to open its books and let everyone know how much it's making or losing each quarter. Plus, it brings in money for Facebook to invest in itself. And, of course, it could be a great birthday present for Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. He turns 28 years old. 28 years old today, and creating a lot of buzz wherever he goes. Zuckerberg spent the past week on a road show talking to investors across the country about the stock offering. He arrived at those business meetings in his trademark hoodie and sneakers, and that had some folks on Wall Street questioning whether Zuckerberg is ready for all of this. And the big question tonight, besides Zuckerberg, can folks like you and me get rich off of all of this? Joining me tonight, CNN Money Tech writer Laurie Siegel and co-founder, chief operating officer for DynaLink, Larry Fishelson. Great to see you both. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So, Laurie, you know, are people at home going to be able to buy this?
Yeah, you know, the good news is Facebook recently updated their filing to show that they're now opening it up to something called E-Trade. And now E-Trade is an online trading platform, and it allows smaller investors to get involved. So traditionally, this is a really hot IPO. Everybody wants in, so it's really tough to get in. But, you know, generally this money is going to go to, or these shares are going to go to institutional investors. So people with their biggest clients are going to be Wall Street banks and that kind of thing. But what Facebook did is they said, you know, we are for the people and we are driven by the people. And we're going to open this up to a broader platform. So you are going to have the opportunity, if you've got the money, to go on E-Trade and a brokerage firm like that and try to buy some shares. Now, it's conditional. We're not going to know, you know, we're not going to know how many shares they're going to get until Facebook goes public. But you do have the opportunity if you have the money and you pass the test for that.
Okay. Well, Larry, how does this change everything? Does this change the game? I mean, when you go from the way Facebook was to what will happen on Friday?
Absolutely, it's going to change the game because you're talking about a company that has 900 million users, and they're looking to go to 2 billion users. So there's a ton of growth out there. So it absolutely changes the game. This is a growth stock, a growth opportunity that you can get in now. Right now, you have Apple at $550, Google at $600 a share. So the average investor on Friday will be able to get in at a more reasonable price. Now, the IPO pricing is going to be finished tomorrow, taking orders, and then they're going to price it on Thursday. So most people are not going to get in on that. To get in on an IPO, the SEC says you have to have $1 million of net worth, you have to be an accredited investor, or make $200,000 a year. So the average investor is going to be getting it Friday on the open, what we call the aftermarket, and I think it's a great buy and a great investment.
The way you just described that to me, Larry, and this is a guy I've never really invested in anything, sounds like it's just an opportunity for the rich to get richer.
Well, it's an opportunity if you're going to make a quick trade and you're able to get in at the special IPO price. But I don't even look at that with this company, because once it comes out, you know, if you get a quick pop, maybe you'll make a few more dollars. But I think you're going to see the retail investor here get an opportunity to long-term make big reward here.
All right. Now, Lori, now for a lot of people, I mean, there's so many people that use Facebook each and every day, right? It's opened up on my computer right now. And these people are like, well, I love what Facebook does. I'm always on it, all these billions of people using it, blah, blah, blah. As someone who's never invested before, someone who's not a player, who doesn't even understand Larry's lingo, right? What's step one? What do you have to do?
Well, you know, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and say, for someone who doesn't understand Larry's lingo, you probably should not invest. You know, Facebook is going to be a bit of a risky investment. I mean, you look at you know, what Warren Buffett said, and what Warren Buffett said was he wasn't going to invest. You know, he thinks that he's not sure what the future is going to look like, but there's so many options out there that he could take. Why go with this one? And internet IPOs are more risky. Now, let's say you do decide to invest. I would do a couple things. I would, you know, Facebook they're on their roadshow, but right now there's an online version of that roadshow, and that's where Facebook execs go and they pitch these top investors, and they say why you should invest in the company, and they also say what some of the risks are in association with investing in the company. You know, we walked through it, and there are a lot of risks. There's, you know, their advertising model, there's their focus on mobile and the uncertain future there. So if you want to invest, get smart about it. Take a look at their, you know, take a look at their IPO filing, look at their S1 filing, and look through and see some of those risks and see if it's something you would want to take on as, you know, as someone who's eventually maybe going to make money off of this or going to take that risk in general. Okay, but is there a website or something I go on to invest? I mean, what do I point and click on something? Do I have to call someone? I'm taking it really basic here. Okay, all right. Presume, which would be a correct presumption tonight, Lori. I have no clue how to do this stuff. The only money I get is what they pay me at the end of the, you know, every 2 weeks here. That's it. I don't invest in things. What do I point and click somewhere? You know, go to E-Trade site. You can go there, but I would, before you even go there and you decide you want to do this, and I would go to Facebook's roadshow page. It's on Facebook. You can see their roadshow, and I would watch this. It's about a 45-minute video, and I would watch it through, and I would watch every single exec. Mark Zuckerberg shows up there. Sheryl Sandberg shows up there. Their chief financial officer shows up there, and I would watch and I would see if this is something you really, really want to do, even though it's trendy and hot right now. All right. Larry, do you think there's going to be a clamoring of Facebook users who are going to say, listen, I want in on this? Well, I understand. I'm hooked on this stuff, right? I know I can't live without my Facebook, and I know there's hundreds of millions of other people just like me, so I want in. Well, I'll tell you why you're going to see a lot of investors get in. Yes, any investment is risky, and you need to understand that before you make a trade. But this is a product that people use and understand. And the biggest thing out there right now is the Fed came out and said everybody that has money in a personal savings is going to make 0 interest. You know that for the next couple of years. So while you'll see the whole idea is to try to get people to buy equities, which is stocks in the market. So a lot of people are still scared at buying stocks in the market and are keeping money in the bank at 0% interest. But I believe a company like this that people use and embrace, which is what you should do when you buy a stock, you should understand what it does. I really believe that this is going to get people off the sidelines, and you're going to see people come out and invest in Facebook. Yeah. Excellent. You know, there's a lot more to talk about here because Mark Zuckerberg, and you know, years ago we didn't know him, right? But he's a household name. But back in 2006, not the case. I want you to hear what the young billionaire had to say about his company 6 years ago.
HLN Special Report.
Gosh, okay. I'm glad this isn't live.
It was 2006, about 2 years after launching Facebook from his Harvard dorm. A nervous and camera-shy Mark Zuckerberg.
Sorry, can I start that a different way? I'm just like so not on today.
Sits down for a CNN interview.
Mark, can you just say your name and pronounce it so nobody messes it up and they have it on tape if...
Sure. It's Mark Zuckerberg.
How would you like to be identified? Your title?
Founder and CEO.
Outside of Silicon Valley, he was such an unknown quantity that our producer had to ask the most basic of questions.
How did the company start?
Well, it didn't start as a company. I was a sophomore at Harvard, and we needed to, I guess, I've never really been asked how the company was started before.
How did Facebook start? That's a good answer.
Now I'm all embarrassed. You would think that I would have been asked that like a ton of times.
Speaking-wise, he may have been rough around the edges. But even then, it was clear Zuckerberg had a laser-like focus of what he wanted Facebook to become.
We view the site as sort of an information directory. It helps you better understand what's going on around you, and once you're better informed about the people around you and what's going on, you're in a better position to meet people, connect with all these people.
Like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs before him, Zuckerberg is one of those rare CEOs whose pioneering accomplishments, fame, and persona make him an especially compelling figure.
In private, I think Mark is a pretty entertaining, engaging fellow who's funny, who's got a lot of friends.
David Kirkpatrick is what you might call a Facebook historian, author of the best-selling book, The Facebook Effect.
He's much more relaxed in private than he is in public. I don't think even to this day he really would like to be as much of a public figure as he is. And if it were up to him, he'd never be on a stage. He'd mostly just be sitting in front of a computer coding, because that's what he loves to do.
Do you see Facebook as your dream job or a stepping stone to something else?
It's definitely not a stepping stone. I don't necessarily think about what my dream job would be, but I guess this is pretty cool. I get to build what I want. That's awesome.
It's interesting to get a glimpse of Facebook's small office back then. Notice the newspapers on the desk. It was only 6 years ago, but this was pre-iPhone and iPad. But one thing that hasn't really changed, Zuckerberg's attire. T-shirt and sandals. Also unchanged, and most important...
Hi, I'm Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, an online social directory.
His core vision for the company, to use technology to connect people to their friends.
I'm not building a company for the sake of building a company or because I think it's a good way to make a lot of money. I think that the philosophy that this company has is that you solve an important problem and then you have the ability to have a good business, but the basis of all that is solving an important problem.
Really fascinating to watch that interview 6 years ago when Mark Zuckerberg was just 22 years old. Today is his 28th birthday. Hasn't changed a whole lot since Facebook launched. Still wears his hoodies and sneakers to business meetings. But here's some things you might not know about him. Zuckerberg donated $100 million to the Newark Public Schools. He's promised to donate half of his earnings to charity. That's a lot of money. He's a vegetarian, was the captain of his high school's fencing team, and he has a Hungarian sheepdog named Beast. My guests are back with me, Laurie Siegel and Larry Fishelson. Laurie, how about when this IPO goes through, right, and this whole thing goes public, do we have any idea how much of every dollar that is invested will end up in his pocket?
Well, you know, look, right now they're saying something, or he could be worth around $18 billion. Now, that is definitely subject to change, but that's a lot of money. And you know, we just did an analysis, and you know, a lot of that, about $2 billion, could go to taxes, and there are a lot of numbers running around right now that we're going to see, and a lot of that's going to change. But I think, you know, something to kind of take away, and something about Mark Zuckerberg. I spoke to one of the early advisors who advised Mark in his really early days at Facebook. And he said Mark is notoriously thrifty, so he doesn't like spending a lot of money, and he's really going to try to maintain, you know, the Facebook culture, and this culture that he's worked very hard and really stayed on point to see through as the company goes public.
You know, Larry, the culture of Facebook may be changing the same, but the look of Facebook is changing a lot. I remember when I started, it was pretty plain, pretty simple. Now it's a lot more cluttered. There's a lot of things, and I would guess most of it is linked to advertisements and abilities to generate revenue through this machine.
Absolutely. And if you're in the technology business, you have to continue to disrupt. So you have to continue to change things around as you grow. So you're absolutely are going to see some changes there. I just want to mention about Mark Zuckerberg. What I love about this stock is that he has 54% voting power in the company. Now, many large companies that go IPO, the CEO and founder are no longer there running the company. But you have the founder of the company with the passion and the drive. And I'll tell you, kids out there should look up to Mark Zuckerberg. That's the American entrepreneurial spirit at its best, and it's wonderful to see. Friday's going to be a great day where you see a kid in his Harvard dorm room start a business that's going to be worth $100 billion. I think that's beautiful. Wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Larry and Lori, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Couldn't have done the story without you.